Because we want to be looking up, not down.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everyone.
We are live. Okay. We got this. We are here. We made it.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thank you all for your patience. You know, every Tuesday night it's an adventure just trying to get the kids in bed, baby ready. So
yeah, tonight between the benefit concert that ended at 7:30 and 8, almost everyone got in bed.
That's right. Cool.
Okay.
Anyways, so exciting life update. Does anyone notice anything different about me from last week? Charlie, you see anything different? My beard fell off. Yes, it did. And it was amazing. It was so worth it. Yeah, I was surprised by how worth it was, and how I have no regrets. I thought I would be sad on my way out of the barbershop, and I'm not sad at all. It was amazing. So I want to give a shout out to my guys at Alfani's Barbershop on East Colfax in Cap Hill. Anyone needs a nice haircut, I think they just do guys, but check it out, alfanisbarbershop.com. You can book an appointment. It's safe. Masks, everyone's gloves, masks, the whole deal. So check out my guys. Alfani's, tell them I sent you. It's a little shameless plug. The interesting thing, about it. The interesting thing about kind of life opening up again is that you have to think about what it is that you're wearing and how you look, and that's a new thing for me. Yeah. It came up this Shabbos, so the synagogues are open again with masks and social distancing. So I realized that my suit that I've been wearing the last 3 months didn't match because, my kids with their chocolate face, my daughter Esty would also often I hug her and she'd just rub it all over my suit. So eventually it stopped matching, and I realized I need to at some point get over to the dry cleaners because now people see me on Shabbos, and that's a big problem. So, and then can't tell you how many times I've walked outside with my mismatching Crocs recently in the last week.
On purpose?
No, usually I do on purpose, but it was actually an accident these last couple of times. So yeah. So life is, thank God, it's changing. Life is changing, and I want to give a shout, actually, before we begin, another unofficial sponsor of Life in the Bunker. We'll give a big shout to Brooklyn Pizza. We started a new custom Sunday night. It's at Brooklyn Pizza, or Brooklyn Pizza at our house. Check them out.
Great.
It's the best pizza ever. So
nice
totally
on a Sunday night, especially if you ever have. It probably doesn't happen to anyone else. If you ever had clean dishes in the dishwasher, dirty dishes in the sink, and then there's more on the counter, that's when it's time to order out. So yes. Thanks, Brooklyn Pizza.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's once in a lifetime though, right? Never happens.
Exactly. So anyway, yes. So that's it's kind of just the little intro tonight.
Yes. So tonight, as you might have seen, is my Hebrew birthday is starting soon. When is it Shkia officially?
After 8:29, so in 13 minutes. Yes.
Anyway.
Another unofficial sponsor is the Apple Watch. Thank you, Apple. We love you. You want to sponsor officially? You want to be an official sponsor? Apple, if you're listening out there, hit me up. dwolf@thej.com. We love you, Apple. Unofficial sponsor again. Not unofficial sponsors. Cool.
So, anyways, it's almost my Hebrew birthday, and Hebrew birthdays are interesting. What is a Hebrew birthday, right? So many of you may know it's the day that you were born on the Hebrew calendar. So the Hebrew calendar follows the moon, the lunar cycle, while the English calendar, the Gregorian calendar, follows the sun. And so you have two different cycles. And each year, it could be your Hebrew birthday and your English birthday. They could be different days. So my Hebrew birthday is, I always forget, tonight. I think it's the 25th, maybe. I don't know. I still always forget. One day I'll remember it. But anyways, I look it up every year on Chabad.org. Hopefully I remember to look it up before it's passed already, because that happens sometimes too. But anyways, it's really cool that you actually get 2 birthdays that way. And there's a special power to the day you were born on the Hebrew calendar. It's a really cool thing that we have. And you actually have it's the 25th. Thank you. Thanks, girls. So when it's your Hebrew birthday, hi, Lexi, welcome. You're able to give a blessing. You have a special power of blessing. And we're going to talk about a little bit about birthdays and what it means. And focus. A new book we started reading. I need to read a little more. It's called, what's it called?
I don't know what you're talking
about.
Indistractable. And Nir Eyal.
Yes. It looks great. Okay.
It is good.
So back to birthdays. So you have a special power to give a blessing to others on your birthday, which is really cool. And it's not quite my birthday, so I'm not going to do it yet. But hopefully we'll remember. You remind me. And we'll do that when it is officially the next day begins.
11 more minutes.
Yeah. And that's interesting because it's similar to a kala at the wedding. When the bride is at the wedding, when it first begins, everyone's coming and the bride is sitting at a Jewish wedding. It looks like a throne. It could look like a throne. And parents and siblings, mothers and sisters are around her. It's like the ladies' area. And all the ladies are on a stage or just in special chairs. And the guests come, male and female, could come and receive in like a line. It's like royalty. Receive a blessing from the bride. And it's a really cool thing. And it's very powerful. And then the men are having all their guy stuff, all their fried chicken wings. And
it's called the chassan's tish, the groom's table, in which we take like l'chaims of whiskey and eat like really intense meats, which I don't do as a vegetarian. So I usually actually go to the where this is all, the Kabbalah's panim, where the bride is giving the brachos, not to get a bracha, but to get some sushi and some salads.
That's
some
where
nice,
the good appetizers
are.
Yeah,
that's what's up. So
yes. Hi, Jacob. Welcome. So that is about birthdays and giving brachos. Does Rav Cook have something to say?
Thanks for asking. So there's actually a cool idea from just before I actually go there. There's one interesting note about I saw a comment. It's attributed to Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, but I asked my friend who is well versed in all of his books, in Hebrew, and he's not familiar actually. If that's actually appears in his book, but the quote goes something like this: that a birthday is the day in which God decided that the universe cannot continue to exist without you. Again, a birthday is the day in which God decided the universe cannot continue to exist without you. That's the birthday, and this actually segues into a beautiful idea that it could be you've heard me say before. I'm very fond of it. That the premise is on the high holidays, on Yom Kippur, actually, we say this blessing every time when we're done with our main prayer with the Elokai, at the end of our Shemona Esrei. And we say as follows, we say, Elokai ad shelo notzarti eni kedai, v'achshav shenotzarti kilu lo notzarti. That, my God, we say, before I was born, before my birthday, my first birthday, actually my 0 birthday, meaning the day I came, you get what I'm saying, right? The day I came into the world. Isn't that weird? Like, my daughter was born like January 15th, right?
No.
20th? January 20th. January 20th. And, sweetheart, we're just in the middle of something. Okay? We'll talk tomorrow.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Anyway. Oof, the joys. What's up, Todd and DJ? Good to see y'all. Anyway, so as I was saying, Rav Cook writes that what this means, again, before I was created, I was unworthy, and now that I am created, it's as if I've not been created. So what exactly does that mean? So Rav Cook writes what that means is that every human being, every one of us, all hundreds of us watching right now, hundreds and hundreds of our viewers right now who are watching, okay, all of us, all hundreds of us, hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of us, it's just going to it's going to mess everything up.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
The joys. Thank God. Thank God. Yeah. We're not so technological. We did get very sophisticated this week, trying to upgrade our video game. So we got
Not literally.
no, we're not playing like Mortal Kombat or Halo all night. We're doing with the webcam. Sorry, I'm pointing. And it's like mind blowing because the webcam, you see, it's not part of the computer. It's a separate thing that plugs in. So it just blows your mind because usually we look at the computer, but now we need to look wherever the webcam is. So we're just trying to adjust to that. So that's what's going on right now. Anyway, hey, Mama, I see Mama joined. It's good to have you. Anyway, sorry, Rav Kook. Okay, until I was created, I was unworthy. That all hundreds of us on this call and billions of us in this world, right? We all have a mission. There's a purpose for each and every one of us. Like God had this intense mission that every soul in this world is meant to fulfill. It's like you give an assignment. So we have an assignment, okay? So what that means basically is that until the year that Sarah was born, she wasn't yet needed in this world. She didn't have a mission. There was no assignment given yet. So before I was born, there was no mission. There was nothing to do yet.
There was no need for you to be here. So
our souls were just kind of basking in this under the throne of glory, the Kisei HaKavod. They're just like chilling and basking. And we had this argument like with God, like, don't send us down. Like we're happy close to you. Anyway, he decided that we had a mission, that the world couldn't exist without us anymore. And we needed to come down into this world. And we come down, for us, it was at some point in the 80s. Some of you youngins watching, welcome, Austin, Steve, Ben, good to see y'all, Josh. But thank you. Okay. Anyways, so there's a lot of screens and a lot of cameras going on. It's great. My point. Oh, that's a so before I was created, right, I was simply not. There's no point to me. Okay. But now that I am created, says Rav Kook, if I'm now born and I'm living, if God forbid, I'm not living up to my purpose, then it's as if I've not been created. Meaning, like, if I'm not fulfilling my duties, I'm not living up to my assignment, I'm not accomplishing that, then it's as if I've not been created. So that's just a powerful idea. Hopefully it can inspire us. Like, we're here, right? So if we're here, then like there is a reason we're here, and we gotta like get pumped up and excited to understand our mission and to realize our mission. And a birthday, I think, is a great time to do that. It's a good time to reflect and to think about how you're doing. Think about where you're at, and to what extent are you living up to your mission. And I think that's an important idea. I see Matt, my man Matt joined us. I love you, Matt. Welcome. I miss you from Albany. Good man. Okay. Anyways, so that's just a powerful idea again from Rav Kook, quoted by Rav Soloveitchik on these high holidays that, until I was around, there's no point. But now that I'm here, I got to like tap into my mission. And hopefully all of us can think about our mission. What exactly is our mission? What are we meant to be doing? That's obviously a very important question. Very, very, very important question. And
with so much closed down, there's so many things you can't just run and do, right? You can't just run to the mall or run to wherever you want to go. Right. So what should you be doing?
You got to get real. So what do we do with our life? How do we understand what our mission is? That's like a whole series unto itself. It's not 20 minutes of live from the bunker. So the thing to consider is what the great Chief Rabbi Lord Dr. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said, that he said, where what you want to do meets what needs to be done, that is where God wants you to be. Okay? So where what you want to do, Moshe, meets what needs to be done, that is where God wants you to be. I'm watching you. Okay. So that I think is a profound idea that hopefully we can think about always, but especially on our birthday. Love that. And think about your passions, what pumps you up, what drives you. Think about to what extent that matches up and aligns with a need out there in the world, and that's where God wants you to be. So I thought that was a pretty neat idea.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm very excited. We have a brand new feature right now.
But we should make it a banner.
I have a banner
Really?
for sure, 100%.
Wow, you're so
Oh
prepared.
yeah.
Look at you.
Oh no. Oh, it didn't work. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. It did not
The
save.
banner's coming.
Hold on, it's coming. It's coming. And a brand new feature. Sorry, it's coming right now. Add banner. And good. Okay, so we're going to show this banner. This is now story time with Rabbi Wolf. Okay, we're going to use this to transition into the next thing that we want to talk about tonight. Story time with Rabbi Wolf, a brand new feature, first time ever on Live from the Bunker. Oh, it's green. That's so cool. The book is green on the green screen, so it's like awesome.
It's
okay, it's even cooler.
Except for the balloons
Yael,
and
Yael becomes a giver. Yael becomes a giver. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna. Oh no, Sarah's gonna do the reading actually, and I'm gonna chime in when I get really excited. Okay.
Okay. I practically know this book by heart. Okay. Today was a super, can you see the pictures? Oh wait, Facebook can't see. Okay. Today was a super special day, the one she waited for all year. Yael was so happy. Her birthday was finally here. Would she get presents? Would there be lots of cake? Yael was so excited she could hardly wait.
Can I read the second page? Was it
Okay,
take turns?
we can take turns. I know,
Okay.
it's so fun.
We love
Sorry,
this.
I don't want to hug it.
Did you buy me a nice gift? She asked right Aunt Bracha on the line. No, but I mailed you a nice card, her aunt said. It should get there right on time.
Yael then called her Saba and spoke to her Safta as well. They would buy her something special. In her heart, she could just tell. I remember, said Saba, when I was young and small, birthdays didn't mean large presents. We didn't get gifts at all. Figure Saba has a New York accent.
Don't worry, little sister. Your brother will be perfect, said her brother David with a pat. You have family and friends that love you. There's nothing better than that. They all agreed it was nice to be loved, but presents could be nice too.
In school, Mora Sara said she could have a party in class with all her friends. They would sing songs, have a yummy treat, and wish her mazel tov in the end. But will I get presents? Yael asked in a hopeful tone. Morris smiled. You know, Yael, there's something I want to ask you, a question of my own.
Ooh. Here we go. All right. Did you know that your birthday, Hashem watches everything you do? He looks to see how much you care for others, how much you truly grew. Hashem doesn't care if you got taller or if you're very smart. Hashem looks to see your inside, if you grew inside your heart.
Do you want to be a girl who is just a getter? Who thinks of presents? Because I know you can be so much better. Yael thought. As you look just like her. As the thought ran through her head, being a getter doesn't sound very nice, but what can I be instead?
We can all become givers, said Morris Sara happily. Think how we give to others every day. Yael's friends began calling out ideas. They had quite a lot to say.
Mindy was first. We can give people toys. Fancy dolls would be so neat. Or a humongous basket filled floor to ceiling full of treats.
More ideas flew from the others. Gifts, oh so exciting! Lego sets and dress-up clothes and fancy bikes for riding. How much fun it was imagining all they could give. Morris Sara allowed each girl a chance, but soon it got quiet. There were no more raised hands.
Mindy then spoke sadly, but how can we get those gifts? We don't have all the money that we need to buy them with.
Morris Sara clapped her hands. I have good news. There's a better way. That every one of you can be a giver every day. When you greet me happily each morning, you have given me a gift. You make my day much brighter, and your smiles give my heart a lift. In the evenings, when you say thank you for dinner, you appreciate your mommy's work and make her feel like a winner.
And would you believe that when your father comes home, seeing you play nicely is better than anything he owns? It's easy to be a giver because presents are not only toys we buy, they are smiles and hugs and thank yous that come from deep inside.
Yael thought it would be fun to make her birthday about giving to others. and she thought about what she might give to Savta or to her mother. She made a picture for Savta's refrigerator door. She knew her grandmother would love it more than anything from the store.
I'm taking you someplace special, Abba announced after school. We're heading to the toy store to choose a present for you. Yael was delighted, a present at last. But then she stopped. She said, Wait, Abba, not so fast.
Ooh. I would like to be a giver today. Do you think that would be okay? Can I pick my present and give someone else a toy? He didn't get many presents when he was a little boy. I'd like a new dolly for myself, but something also for my Saba.
Of course, my darling Yael, said her very proud Abba. Mommy said, You're growing up to be a kind girl who makes us proud, and know that your Saba will be happy with the gift you found.
It felt good to be a giver. Yael was so glad Mora Sara taught her how. I can't wait to see Saba and Savta, Yael begged. Can we visit them now?
Off they went to her grandparents to eat a cake that was yum. Yael surprised her Saba and Savta. What fun!
She loved his present, and Savta taped the drawing to the wall. Yael felt so happy. Giving was the best present of all.
Happy birthday, her family wished her all together. Yael, you really are the best giver ever.
Aww. A birthday or any other day is more fun when you're a giver, not a getter. And there's a song, but we're not going to sing it for you.
Shout goes out to the author Malky Weinstock.
Thank you, Malky Weinstock. Beautiful.
And Light Girl Bucks.
Amazing, amazing. So what's the point of all this? This nice, beautiful story. That it's a paradigm shift, and it actually suggests that we always think about birthdays. It's the time to get. I want to get presents. I'm so excited. Get. I want to get.
What's everyone going to surprise me with?
But right, exactly. But the interesting perspective from from a Jewish lens is that really, to the extent that you're able to give, to the extent you're able to give, you're actually able to get. And it's interesting, Sarah and I were talking about this, and sure enough, we did a little Google search, and I'll tell you what we came up with. We actually found a New York Times article where someone else realized this as well, and I wanted to just paraphrase some of it for you. And I'll read you just, a couple, just a little bit from this article that I think really reflects on the same exact idea, that perhaps a birthday can be about giving. So maybe at the end of this call, and Sarah and I didn't discuss this, maybe we can think about what she'll give me for her birthday. I'm just joking. Okay. Anyway, the headline of this article in New York Times, it's do something nice for someone else on your birthday. Maybe that's a paragraph header. But, quote, what if birthdays were less about getting stuff, getting drunk and getting older, and more about making the world a better place? That's a question that the Birthday Project asks. Established by Robin Bomer 9 years ago, the Birthday Project is a group that encourages people to give back to their community on their birthday. The idea was born out of Ms. Bomer's reluctance to celebrate her 38th birthday. In an effort to adjust the energy of the day, she chose to do 38 acts of kindness for other people, like handing out water bottles to joggers and feeding parking meters, one thoughtful activity for each year of her life. She hopes doing something for someone else on your birthday becomes the norm, on par with receiving a gift, blowing out candles, or noshing on cake. Quote, 19 million people share a birthday across the world every day. If everybody just did one nice thing for someone on their birthday, it would create a shift in the world. Ms. Bomer said, doing nice things for other people to ring in your big day is rewarding because the day isn't just about who showed up or what you did or didn't get for your birthday. It becomes about the impact you make and the ripple it created, she said. Quote, you go to bed that night of your birthday and you feel like maybe you matter or maybe you made a difference, she said. When you're getting older, I guess what we really want to know is that what we're doing still matters. Ariana McLemore, age 24, was used to having her birthday slip through the cracks. Miss McLemore, a recent NYU graduate, would usually be juggling classes and settling into new living spaces when her birthday in mid-September came around. For her birthday this year, she volunteered in a soup kitchen in the Bronx. A few weeks before her big day, she posted a call on her Instagram account to see who would want to go with her. She was pleased when a handful of friends expressed an interest in coming along. Quote, I'm excited this year because it actually took time and I feel like things are coming through the way I wanted them to, she said. You see this idea, again, very beautifully by this awesome woman who created this program called the Birthday Project, that it's not something just Malky Weinstock, thought of. that this is a beautiful idea in line with what we said earlier, that there is something very special to, meaning and doing meaningful activities on your birthday and making a difference and demonstrating to yourself and to the world the awesome impact that you're leaving and the imprint you're leaving in this world. So
Beautiful.
that was cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, we wanted to share just a pretty cool couple ideas with you by a great rabbi, Rabbi Dessler. It's called the Michtam Eliyahu, a very famous book by Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler. He was one of the great Musar leaders and one of the great thinkers of our time in the previous century. And he really just had a very, very awesome concept. And it appears like I just need to open up to the right page. And I can share a little bit with you as well. We're getting more scholarly here. I think last week we opened up a Mishnah Berurah,
Wow.
great Jewish text. So it's pretty cool. So he has this actually very well-known idea. It's called he describes it as the Kuntras HaChesed, the essay on kindness. And he really goes through a lot of the idea of giving. And he basically states that, in this world, when God created us, when he created Adam and Chava, that he actually made them with the potential character traits, the potential attributes to either be a giver or a getter. And he explains that the aspect of giving is this loftiest of all traits that God created us with. And it inspires us to bestow mercy, goodness, and giving to other people, with no expectation of return or receiving anything, in return for the kindness that we do. And he says, conversely, the attribute of taking, and we'll dig into this a little bit later, is one of the sources that brings a lot of negativity into our lives, this desire for taking. And, it's a super interesting idea that he really kind of breaks everything down into these two concepts, that everything in life could relate to giving, or it could be related to taking. And any decision we have, we can basically boil it down into those two principles and decide what to do accordingly. And we'll give some kind of real life examples about this soon.
It's not always as simple as it sounds. For anyone who learned with me, circle, arrow, spiral, the whole book is about there's givers and there's takers. And if we're all literally giving and there's no one to take it, then that doesn't work either. That sometimes being a giver is also taking, because by taking, you're allowing the other person to give. And so you're allowing the other person to become a giver and to actualize their own potential in that way. So it's not always so black and white, and you just kind of have to figure out, but it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a good point, right? That it could be a little bit more complex than I just made it out to be. And a lot of times, as you said, actually receiving can be an act of giving. And a lot of it will have to be a function of your mindset and your attitude. So it's actually interesting, because a question that maybe you're thinking about this is, so if I'm always supposed to be a giver, then, should I stop, should I work for free? Should I stop? I need to actually update. Okay, sorry. Should I work for? Maybe I shouldn't take a salary, because that would be taking, right? So if I'm doing my job just to get, maybe I should just volunteer for a living.
Right, or maybe I shouldn't take time to go exercise or other things. So that's not actually what we're saying at all, because you have to give to yourself also to be able to give to others, right? And I think we mentioned that last week. You have to fill yourself up. Did we mention that last week? Is that something else? Okay, something else.
Not ringing a bell, but
okay.
Yeah.
You have to fill yourself up to be able to give to others. Otherwise, you have nothing to offer.
Exactly. And Rav Dessler actually writes a fascinating concept that I believe, in the very beginning of the Torah, I think it's in Bereshis, the first parsha, we see that there was this person named Chanuch. And we read about his demise in a very interesting way. The verse tells us, Chanuch es Elokim. Chanuch walked to God, basically. And the sages say that he was a very righteous person. And it's a very strange way to refer to, I guess, his death potentially. And the rabbis write about him that he was actually a shoemaker, and for each and every stitch in the shoe that he would be sewing, he would be meyachid yichudim lakono. He would single out these lofty Kabbalistic ideas in every aspect of his work towards his creator. So it's like he was making shoes, but he was at the same time like attaining these intense Kabbalistic levels of spirituality. That's the simple reading of it. But the great Musar leader of Yisrael Salanter, Rabbi Dessler, reports, says it can't be that that's the case. Hey, Shauna, how you doing? Good to see you. It can't be that that's the case. It cannot be that he was thinking about Kabbalah when he's working. Why? Because when you're working, you have to be indistractable. You have to be all in. So if you're working and you're like, watching, live from the bunker, from your office, like, I guess if they let you do that, technically, it's cool. But if not, like, watch it later, watch it when you get home. Because when you're working, you're meant to be all in. You're meant to be dialed in to the job. They're paying you to be all in. And it wouldn't be so simple necessarily to be anything but all in when you're working. So what does this mean that he was, he's being miyachid yichudim? Yeah, he was in this intense concentration towards his creator. What does that mean? So he says something amazing. He says even when he was stitching his shoes that he would sell, that he said he was all in with all of his heart and all of his thoughts for each and every stitch that he made, that it should be good and strong, and that these should be good shoes, that in order to bestow, that they should be optimal, great shoes for the person who uses them. And this is how he clinged to his creator, because he wanted to bestow goodness to everyone around him in the shoes that he was making. And that's this intense, lofty level. So what you see is that in everything that you do, if your intention is to bestow goodness to others and to be giving to others, that's an intense level that you're really cleaving and you're clinging to your creator. And this could be in whatever you do in life, whatever profession, whatever you do, you're doing it to help people. You're doing it to bestow goodness to others. You're like emulating God himself. And that's a big deal. So you could be a shoemaker and you could be on the loftiest of all levels. You could be an accountant. You could be on the loftiest of all levels. You could be working in HR, the loftiest of all levels. Whatever you're doing, you could be on these intense, lofty levels if you're having the intention that you want to be giving to others. You want to give of yourself to others.
And you can carry that over also outside your career, right? I could be doing that while I'm doing the dishes and thinking about how they should be clean and they should be used to help feed people. And while we're driving, while we're going for a walk, while we're, I don't know, there's not so many things we're involved with these days, but with everything.
But
that's how we could
that's
be
like
doing
it's actually like a very cool thing is that in the most mundane, I see what you did there, Charlie, I like it. But in the most mundane of all activities, you could actually be attaining the loftiest of all levels by giving and by emulating God, the ultimate giver.
So it's not just about doing great things and being seen and being heard. It's also whatever you do, even in the privacy of your own home, you can make it great. Exactly.
No, beautiful. Right. Doesn't have to be a big public spectacle you're giving, right? It could just be in the privacy of your home. And that's these intense, amazing levels. And it's cool when we kind of think about back to the birthday idea that we're created, with a mission, to give of ourselves to the world, to give of ourselves to humanity, into our communities, into our families, so into our friends, etc. So
our lives are not just for ourselves; they're a gift, so that we can continue to give.
Yeah.
Hi, Irene. Hi, Tatiana. Thanks, Irene, for the birthday wishes.
Beautiful. Okay. So Rav Dessler has a very, very famous concept I know we probably shared before here, in which he actually relates the same idea to the idea of love, and where he famously dissects the word love, ahav, and he takes the word ahav, which means to give. That the more you give to someone, it ends up being the more you love them. That's not really our topic for right now, but what I did want to say is that he has a gorgeous piece on the topic, specifically of the love between man and between husband and wife, between spouses, and he says he says something that's just amazing. Sorry to you folks on Zoom. I just got a call, so we probably lost this for a minute. But we're back.
Okay.
We're back. I don't know why my calls go to my iPad. That's like it's a strange thing. I don't know how that works.
Call Apple.
All Apple. God bless you, Apple. I love you. I love you. Unofficial sponsor, Apple. Like I said, if anyone knows the folks at Apple that might want to sponsor, we tell them we love them, and we'd love for them to sponsor us. Anyways, I digress. So Rav Dessler has this, just like I said, stunning piece about a union, about a marriage, and he writes, basically, he doesn't say this part explicitly, but the Torah says that it would be ideal, for a person not to remain alone, but for man and wife to come together. And why is that? When we think about it, based on what we're saying, why is it not ideal to be alone? Because when a person has a spouse, then they're able to constantly be giving. Like it's always someone there to give. The same thing is true of having children. The same thing is true of having friends. The same is true of being involved in a community. That when you're around people, right? When you're around others, again, whether intimately related to you, a spouse, a child, or just friends, right? Those are people that you can always give to. And that is like really what it's all about, according to Rav Dessler.
Yeah. So the more you're involved with people, this might be a good push to help us come out of quarantine.
Yes.
The more you're involved with people, the more you have the opportunity to do good,
give to others, right?
And to give with everyone that you're around. And that's one thing that really is so special about being part of a community. And that, whenever someone needs something, they put it on the WhatsApp. And when someone can help, they WhatsApp them back. And it's really a special thing, that constant giving that goes on within a community.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, some of us, I know, some of the more introverted among us, myself included in this, who kind of enjoyed the whole kind of never going out thing. But one of the big advantages of getting out is that you're able to give. You're able to give more. Just an example, I don't go to many places these days, but I do go, to my synagogue, again, with the healthy social distancing. And just by a 40-minute experience, I can give to a lot of people, right? I've been walking to synagogue to try to work off some of those quarantine extra pounds I'm carrying. And you see the joggers, the walkers, you can wave at them. You can say hello, right? This morning I held the door open for someone. You can have a conversation with a person. You can compliment them, right? There's so many ways to give when you interact with human beings. And some of the advantages, again, of stepping out of this quarantine. But again, just in the context of perhaps the purpose of a marriage is that, the goal, the point of it is that you have a partner to whom you can dedicate your life to giving to and to bring them to delight and to pleasure. And, these basically, again, are just Rav Dessler's words, not my own. And he says that you want to be able to bring nachas, joy, and oneg, and delight to each other. Really amazing idea. So we see here that the next thing that he just talks about is that sometimes, unfortunately, it starts off this way with an intense desire to give, but it doesn't always work out that way. And people, Rav Dessler says, unfortunately, can sometimes revert back to being takers and not to be givers. And when this happens, unfortunately, that's where problems begin to occur, where you're always like asking yourself, like, what's in it for me? Like, when was the last time you did this for me? We're going to actually take a quick break. We have here some guests here to the show. A special little treat for us here. Welcome, and Kayla and Shira. It is now officially Sarah. So I thought we would interrupt the program to do a little, what do you call it? There's motion too. Singing. Is that quintet? Quintuplet? You get? I don't know what you call it. Okay, but whatever it is, we're about to do it. Okay, so on the count of three, just belt it out. Okay, shamelessly, like no one's listening. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. What a
Thank
nice
you.
surprise.
I was a surprise. I was about to send like a group chat that Sarah's in, asking if y'all would come, but I'm like, we're gonna do a little surprise party right here on Live from the Bunker. So thank you all for coming to the surprise party. And yeah, I mean, we love having you here on the screen. You're welcome to stick around. But, we're good to see y'all.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Sarah. Have a great day.
Happy birthday.
Before we hang up from the class, from Live from the Bunker, I'm going to give everyone a bracha. Okay? This is just behind me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Good to see you. All right. Thank you for that little surprise. Okay. All right. Back here. So what Rabbi Dessler describes is that when a person starts thinking like, well, when is the last time like you did that for me? You know, and when is, you know, when did I do that for you? And it becomes like a transactional relationship. That becomes a problem, right? That becomes a problem, and we want to avoid that. We just want to be givers, and it's very important. Okay, so Rav Dessler now just a couple of their ideas on this. That you know, sometimes you might have noticed in life. How's it going, Don? Good to see you.
Hi.
Sometimes in life, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but this is kind of human nature, right? And that's why we have to remember these ideas. That a lot of times we do think in terms of like transactions. We view our relationships with people almost as like business transactions. So like if you did me a kindness, then I owe you one, right? And if I did you a kindness, then you owe me one, and I expect one, right? And I feel like we might make this hashtag Rabbi Wisdom for today. I have another idea also, but I think a great way to go through life and be disappointed. This is actually brilliant. So I'm gonna, where do I call this? Hashtag, 1 second. Oh, I deleted it. Oh, okay. Okay, hashtag life lessons, rabbi lessons. That's what it's called. Hashtag rabbi lessons. When you expect from others what you would expect of yourself, I believe that you'll be disappointed basically every single time, right? So when I expect of myself to give and to go out of my way to help people, but when I expect that from other people, then you know, and I view it transactionally, then I'm going to be disappointed. That's just the way the world is. And we should try to get rid of that transactional attitude and try to get rid of that attitude that where I'm always expecting something back in return for you. So, you know, sometimes this could come up, you know, if anyone's ever been involved in like carpools or just share, you know, giving rides, you know, to friends or whatever. But, you know, so if I bring, you know, your kid and I drop him off at your front door, then I expect you to do that for me as well. And, you know, there's just these like expectations that I think lead to awkwardness and lead to discomfort in relationships for different people. So I think that we need to try to avoid that and to avoid the concept of, you know, transactional thinking in our relationships with other people, and just try to give, just with no agenda. I just want to help you because I guess technically it's selfish because it feels great to give. But I was very moved actually by a story a few years ago. Rabbi Kissel spoke to our Rabbi Avi Kissel of Olami. So he spoke to our gift fellowship of a couple of years ago. And he said that this really made an imprint on me. He said, is she's hungry or she's just tired or just chilling? Okay. Thank you, love. You're such a sweet person for doing that. Okay. So the idea is that Rabbi Kissel said as follows, right? In Brooklyn, and we don't recommend this necessarily, but apparently in Brooklyn where he grew up, it was common to hitchhike, right? So someone, you know, in the Jewish community especially, people, you know, needed to get somewhere, needed to get to the mini, needed to get home, needed to get somewhere. So they'd, you know, put their thumb out and they would end up getting a ride somewhere, you know, someone would pick them up. So the way that Rabbi Kissel's father, blessed memory, operated was that he would go to a hitchhiker, and the way it usually works is like the hitchhiker says, "So where are you going?" Because like I don't have the chutzpah to ask you to take me somewhere not near where you're going, right? So that's like I think hitchhiker etiquette is that you. Again, I'm not advocating hitchhiking. I don't know that it's safe, but apparently hitchhiker etiquette is such that you ask the driver where they're going before you make the ask to see if they'll take you somewhere. But the way that Rabbi Kissal's father operated is that he would say, so if Sarah's like, where are you going? And I'm the driver, I'm like, where do you need to go? Because that's where I'm going, right? It didn't matter to Rabbi Kissal's father, to this amazing person, it didn't matter where they needed to go or how that would inconvenience them, because he just wanted to help out. He wanted to give, and that was his perspective. That's a giving perspective. That's a giver, that's not a taker. So I was very inspired by that. So just to
Can I elaborate?
please, 100%.
Carpool. So carpool holds dear in my heart. And I think it's really interesting. Giving and taking, as some of you know, is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And if you think about it, let's say someone asks me, they ask me, can you bring home my kid from school today? I'll usually say, sure, I'm happy to bring them home, and I drop them off. Okay. But then next time when I need someone to pick up one of my kids, something happened unexpected or things come up, then I'm more likely to ask that person to help me out. And by asking them also, right, if then they feel that they can ask me again, and I feel that I can ask them again. So really the whole thing, it's not, I would say, even give and take. Yeah, we're benefiting from it, but you're benefiting from when it's just plain giving. So this giving you're benefiting from by taking also, but it's also building a relationship. But if it's like, well, they asked me twice in a row now, so I should ask them soon. If you're keeping track like that, it's not the same. But when you altruistically build that relationship and you want to help each other, then that's giving. And that's how giving also leads to deepening a relationship.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah, basically, I just want to end off this idea, at least in the context that Rav Dessler decides the beauty of a marriage. Again, for one, is something I always encourage people when they're kind of trying to decide if the person that they're seeing is a suitable match, for the long haul, is like, is this someone that you want to spend the rest of your life giving to? Because again, a marriage should be just this intense desire to give, to constantly give every single day. And yeah, it's very special. So Rav Dessler, it's cool. He's such a holy, brilliant rabbi, and he tells us actually what he tells newlyweds. Okay, so he says the following: he's haro yikarim, be careful, my precious ones. Always try to bestow satisfaction, to bestow goodness to one to another, and try to do so just like you have this desire right now at this moment, right? So to imagine at this moment you're under the chuppah, right? You're in this holy moment in your life, this lofty moment where there's nothing else that you would rather do to give to this person. And in the storms and the waves and the turmoil of life when it comes up, to always harken back, to always think back to that moment under the chuppah when you had that intense desire to give to that person, and remember that and ingrain that feeling and that desire deep into your heart. And that is a recipe, I believe, for a successful marriage. So he does say, to conclude his whole piece on all of this, on this little subsection, that when husband and wife reach this level of giving, he says their love cannot break. It cannot be tifsak. It cannot be snapped. It can't be cut. It can't be broken. And their life will be filled with happiness and with joy. Their entire life that they're on the living in this world. So this idea is like a game changer when you have this perspective, entering a relationship to be a giver. Again, it doesn't just have to apply to relationships. It really applies to everything in life. When you approach your day, waking up and asking yourself, how can I give today? What can I do to give? I believe that that's a paradigm shift that can really be a game changer for a person's perspective in life. The couple other ideas, and then just very briefly, the Rambam says basically that everything you do, because obviously there's a lot of pleasurable things that we do in this world, but we can also kind of view them in the context of giving, right? So if I go on a Saturday afternoon and take a nap, okay, I take a nice nap, and Sarah, the giver, the amazing giver she is, they can't really see so much on Facebook, but the amazing giver that she is, she lets me take a nap. And I would argue that to some extent maybe also giving. You're welcome. But why? Because the Rambam says in Hilchos Deos that everything we do, every physical pleasure that we have, we can channel that to be what he calls l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven. I can nap so I can be healthier, and I can be a better spouse, I can be a better father, I can be a better person. Right? So napping can be something that really is giving. When I eat, when I have something delicious, I do that, and that can also make me a giver. Because it gives me the energy that I need to function, right? So everything we do, if we have the proper intention, we can actually do it from a lens of giving. Another interesting idea that I believe proves this point is that we read in last week's parsha, Miriam, as we discussed last week. Miriam was a mitzora. She was inflicted with a spiritual malady due to lashon hara that she spoke, the malicious speech that she spoke. And the punishment for lashon hara, for tsaras, was quarantine, right? She had to go outside the camp and be by herself. So what's the idea behind that, right? What is the message there behind that? The rabbis say that in the Talmud that when someone is mitzora, it's as if they are a mace, as if they are dead. Why is that? So according to the great Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, he says perhaps the reason is because what's something very sad about when someone is no longer alive, that they're no longer able to give. They can't be giving anymore. And when a mitzora, someone is in quarantine and they're outside of the camp and they don't, I guess, have a cell phone that they can text people and give through ways that we've been able to give these last 3 months, right? That's equivalent in this philosophical way to being dead in the sense that you're no longer able to give. So giving is living. Giving is what makes us alive. It enables us to emulate God himself. And it's just something very, very important to consider. So what we wanted to do next, and I apologize, Sarah, I think is giving of herself to the baby right now who woke up and is a little fussy. So just a couple of everyday dilemmas, and I would what I want to encourage us to do is to think about life situations from a lens of giving or taking, right? Is this giving or is this taking? So we just had an amazing guy build us a shed in our backyard. No longer do we have to have a tent, a tarp, a canopy, and store my lawnmower in that. We can store it in a proper shed, which is amazing. And the guy, poor guy, he worked very hard. It was very hot. And, I should ask myself, how can I be a giver in this situation, right? So, to offer someone who's helping you, to offer them dinner, to offer them, how can I help you? And technically, dinner wasn't included in the deal, right? We didn't stipulate dinner, the cost of pizza. He declined, by the way, but we didn't stipulate, that I have to feed you. So technically I could get away with maybe not offering it because it wasn't part of the deal. And maybe I'm going to view it just like a big transaction. But again, I think that's missing the point. It's my roommate's turn to do the dishes, and they've been in the sink for 3 days, and it's their turn, and it's not my turn because I just did it 3 days ago. What do you do, right? It's really, that could be a sticky point. That could be frustrating, and maybe to try to be the bigger person and be the giver. Be the giver. Yes, they should hold up to their end of the deal. But I believe to the extent that you don't just step in and do it, you might hold anger in your heart. You might be upset. And perhaps it makes sense to give. Speak out, by the way, if you think I'm wrong. I know it is egregious, those dishes, and it's not your turn. But so please feel free to express your opinion. Another situation, right? I go to King Soopers and I go inside. I don't just do the delivery or they bring it out to your car. I go inside. Should I bring my cart to the place where it goes, or should I leave it by my car? Now it's interesting. When we lived in Albany, like everybody brought it to the proper place. I found in Denver, like it's more socially accepted to not have to necessarily do that, which is interesting. But what is giving and what is taking in that case? I think the taker in me wants to just put it there and let the guy who's paid to do that do it. But maybe I should try to operate from a perspective of giving. Maybe I should go ahead and actually return it myself. Again, please fight me on this if you think I'm wrong. I might, So now that I said that, I'm going to probably start doing that more, which is good. That's the benefit of teaching things and sharing things that you learned, because it holds you more accountable. Because I could tell you my record to returning things, grocery carts back to where they belong is probably less than 50% in the last couple of years. So we all can improve. Okay. Now, another classic one, right? A friend posted in our group chat on WhatsApp that they need some flour. Now, I happen to be in King Soopers, and I'm not too far from the flour aisle, but they never helped me before. And even maybe when I asked them to help me before, they never stepped up. What do you do, right? What's the giver move? What's the taker move, right? It would be easy to ignore it. I have a policy where I try, and this is a total taker move, by the way. And again, I'm just being real with y'all. I sometimes on purpose leave my phone in the car when I go to the grocery store, because it's actually, I don't know if I literally do that, but I might ignore whatever it says. Sarah's has a look over there. She's shocked. And I'm just being real, because we all got to work on this, right? How many times has it ever happened to you that you're in the checkout line and your significant other or your friend or your roommate or anyone texts you and says, "Can you also go get some cinnamon and some eggs and some ice cream?" Right? Yeah. Marty, you feel me, man. You feel me. Yeah, 100%. So yes, so the question is, how easy is it to just kind of want to ignore that? That would be the taker move, I argue, right? And the giving mood would be, oh, sure. This happens, by the way, like multiple times every time I go to Trader Joe's. Every single time. I'm in the line, and then I just get another text, and then another one. And the folks who work there are so nice that they just let me keep doing that. But the giving move would certainly be to be like, sure, I would love to get what you need. You do so much, and I'm so excited to be able to help you. Todd, I got you, man. Yeah, eggs are good. Go get those eggs for sure. Okay. Now, this might happen also when you think of, I don't know if you have roommates or friends, right? Those of us in Colorado, and you carpool up to the mountains, right? And, I'm sure there's socially acceptable things, and now it's probably easier than ever with Venmo to do this. So I am like criticizing the practice necessarily, but like maybe to think of like driving someone up to the mountains, not necessarily as a transaction. If they want to offer to give, that would be a giving move. But maybe me as the driver, I don't have to expect it, right? I don't have to demand it. I would even be willing to drive you with no payment, right? We got to judge favorably, like we learned last week, for sure. But if both parties here are the givers, meaning the recipient of the ride up to the mountains will offer to give, and the driver will theoretically be fine if they don't offer to give, because now they're able to really do a total altruistic kindness. And that's awesome, right? That's a cool opportunity. So all I'm saying is to be less like tit for tat and to be more, mindful of the opportunity to simply just give. And that, I believe, is just a very important point. One last point on this, and then we'll end for the evening with the Rabbi Wisdom, is the Chafetz Chaim famously said, and we're going to talk about next week, by the way, we're going to talk about Meiser. Why? Meiser is 10% of one's income that, they're meant as a strong Jewish custom to contribute 10% to charity. And it just so happens to be, I appreciate you, Israeli fellow, posting right now. I don't. Yeah. I think he posted something about smiles. Thank you. I'm totally American, so I don't fully understand it. But yeah, check out the smiles. All right, smile at people. I think it's something. What he's saying. Uh, anyway, but I appreciate the comment, Benny Storbner. But I'm just now so there's a strong Jewish custom to give 10% of your income to worthy causes, to Meiser. That happens to be, by the way, next week. Little shameless plug. We are running our annual campaign, a like 30-hour or something campaign, and we would love for all of your help. You guys are amazing. It'd be very, very sweet. So we'll talk about that next week more. The Chafetz Chaim says something amazing. He says you should also contribute 10% of your income potentially for what he calls a shalom fund, right? A peace fund. These are the types of things that when there gets to be fights, right? There starts to be fights and people start to argue over monetary issues, sometimes very petty. Oh, you didn't pay your share for the carpool. Oh, the neighbor's whatever broke and he doesn't want to pay for it. And you lose that relationship with a person. You lose that friendship with a person over just a small amount of money sometimes. So the Chafetz Chaim recommends taking 10% of your income and also allocating that for when these things come up. And then whenever there is an issue that might turn into an ugly lifelong fight and dispute and quarrel, you can just take that money that you set aside and you can just kind of just take care of it, and you don't have to lose sleep over it. You don't have to lose friendship over it. And that is, I thought, a very cool idea from the Chafetz Chaim. This also, I think, would go towards, there's something called Shalom Bais, marital harmony and bliss. And, a person's spouse wants something really bad and you don't see the value in it. Okay, but you set aside this money for peace, for bringing peace and tranquility and joy. And, that would definitely be a smart investment, the investment for peace, which obviously is so critical, so vital, so important. So that is pretty much about it. I believe in my, so now just the last segment for tonight is, of course, yes, Sarah will give us a bracha. Why don't you end it with a bracha? I'm going to just share the hashtag Rabbi Wisdom quote, and check this out on my blog, wolfwisdom.com. Wolfwisdom.com. Check that out. You can read more about this all. But, wolfwisdom.com. Hashtag Rabbi Wisdom. Clothes will sometimes fit and sometimes not fit. Sometimes your pants will button all the way, sometimes not. More often than not, by the end of Shabbos, they will not button all the way. But your shoes will always be there, awaiting your foot's snug embrace. Your shoes, my friends, will always be there, awaiting your foot's snug embrace. Think about that, chew on that. After you thought what that might mean, what on earth that might mean, go to wolfwisdom.com and read for yourself. Without further ado, turn it over.
What are the shoes in your life?
What are the shoes in your life?
Beautiful.
Okay, Sarah, turn it over to you.
Okay. This is for, not Siri, Sarah. This is for everyone who's here, who stopped in, who stayed, who didn't stay, who didn't even see this. Really, for everyone. Hashem, I did not prepare this. So let's see. Hashem should bless you with tremendous clarity and simcha, joy, and you should understand what your purpose is and be motivated and have success in fulfilling it, and it should be meaningful for you every day. And when there's days that you're not able to work towards your ultimate purpose, if there's days that you're not able to work towards your ultimate purpose because you have different things going on, you should be successful with those different things, and you should be at peace with the fact that that's where you're needed to be right now. That everyone should have success and blessing in their lives and livelihood, that we should all have whatever we need, and that we should understand that whatever we need is what we have, and we should never fall short in our ability and our willingness to give because we're worried about what we will have, that we should feel secure that everything that we need is coming to us, whether we see it at the moment or we don't. And may we have tremendous growth through our lives and be able to bring joy to others all around us and make the world a better place. So thanks, guys, so much for tuning in with us today. Thanks for your patience and getting started. I think this little one is starting her teething. So we have a nice little teething ball.
And I wanted to point out, by the way, this is what I'm talking about. When you go in public, you can no longer wear like cool dude Adidas pants with a shirt and tie, right? So before all of this, y'all were just looking at me, just assuming I was like the 100% rabbi gear, and you didn't even realize I was rocking the cool dude like Adidas pants. So that's what I'm talking about.
You have no idea what's really below the skin.
You do not know. You have no clue.
And in other people's lives in general, it's such a...
It's a blog post, okay? That's a blog post. You have no idea what is going on beneath the surface. No clue. Okay? Thank you all for joining us. Baby's a little tired. There she is. She's a very cute girl. Okay. Thank you all for coming. God bless you. See you next week.
See you next week.